Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here recording episode 49, and today our topic is what other countries and cultures can learn from the United States. We did an earlier episode about what the United States could learn about other countries, and we thought it would be fitting to cover some of the great things about the United States that other countries might be able to adapt to make their lives better and just to have a good time. So we are here talking about this, and I'm looking forward to introducing my amazing co-host, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello there, everyone. One thing us two Americans here on the Untranslatable podcast do better than anyone else is entertain and talk about language, culture, travel. So, first off, for the rest of the world, get on our level. First, get on our level on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1, or you can follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, or you can email us, email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. No, I almost said that. Don't put that in there. Tell us your untranslatables. Give us a song of the pod recommendation. Tell us some crazy travel story that we might find entertaining, or for Chad's sake, heartwarming. I guess we could do that too.
That's true. I do love all things wholesome, heartwarming, and cheesy. That's
Chad will
sure.
read that one though.
Yeah, that's true. That is too true. So what's been going on, buddy? How's life been treating you?
Life has been treating me well. It's my work weeks are always just routines, the same old. I went to piano yesterday. I told her that I can only handle so many songs.
Oh, nice.
Good I felt like a man. And she said, "Oh, that's okay."
Nice.
And so it first started, and it's so funny too because I said that, and she's like, "All right, well then let's focus on these 3 songs." I was like, "Okay," and she's like, "Oh, I forgot about this song. What about this one as well?"
Oh,
and I was like, all right. And I was like, all right, well, see, now we're just going back. It was just, but other than that, excuse me?
Go ahead.
I was going to change the subject, but I was going to say, and her church is having their laser light show this weekend. It's not a laser light show, I'm kidding. But they're having like their Christmas show / light show this weekend. And apparently my 68-year-old piano teacher is dressing up in a Minion costume.
I didn't realize it was Halloween 2.0 for Christmas.
They have like characters for kids to take pictures with as well, apparently. And she volunteered. Okay. I'm going to see it. You're going to see a passed out Minion. It's like, man, it's so cold outside, but it's so hot in this suit.
Right. Oh, man, that's great.
They didn't mention that there wasn't proper ventilation in these things.
That is
It's going to be cold and slippery.
Yeah, you gotta be careful out there.
She's really pushing hard for me to go to this thing. She's pushing hard for people to go to this thing because she also tutors this kid, and her dad was picking her up as I was doing my piano lesson, and she was telling the dad like they were leaving as I was starting my piano lesson, and she was like yelling at them out the door, "Don't forget, Friday's the laser light show." As he's stepping out the door, she's like, "You're gonna have to park at blah 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 high school because they're gonna have to shuttle you there." And he's like almost out the door, and he's like, okay, yeah, no, okay. It's free to get in, but treats and other goodies you'll have to pay for once you're there. And he's like, okay, no, all right. And I was like, and then she gave me that essentially the same spiel as I was leaving too, and I was like, ugh. And I told her, I was like, I can't go on Friday, but I might be able to make it on Sunday, and honestly, on Saturday. And honestly, I could go on Friday. I just had to get out. It's just too much pressure. It's like she's out in the suburbs. Like I live in Philadelphia. It's like, I got to drive 30 minutes just to look at some lights, and I'm trying to figure out. Now this is awful, but I'm trying to figure out if I can lie about this thing. But it's gonna be hard because she seems to be very well informed.
I gotta tell you though, my dude, that might be some great video material for the gram.
Final go.
Also,
I gotta
tell you, your mic game was on point there. Your mic game was on point when you were doing the yelling. That was great. I felt like I was watching a stand-up comedian like properly like using a mic. So that was solid.
But
hey, You know what though? Good for her though for trying to get her hustle on and promote those events.
We should hire her to promote this podcast.
I was thinking the same thing. If we promoted half as hard as she did, we'd probably have, a ton of followers by this point. But we do it for the love of it, and that's all that matters,
Yeah, I guess so. But she's doing it for the love of it too, and she's not even it's not even. I mean, she's just, I don't know. She's just proud of her church, I guess. And it's gonna be at least the good news is, one, I can just walk around by myself because it's the chances of me running into her are pretty slim, and so I'll be able to walk around on my own, which is nice. And I mean, it's an impressive show from what I've heard. It's not like I'm gonna be bored.
Right.
It is clearly an impressive show, so it won't be a complete waste. So I'll go. Fine, I'll go.
There you go. Nice. I look forward to hearing about it. Actually, speaking of light shows, I had to. Well, I didn't have to, but I had an English lesson for the teachers today. And because we're getting closer to Christmas time, we talked about Christmas in the United States. I showed them a video of a light show of this house, and it just so happened that a lot of the vocabulary words we were learning popped up in the light show. Like I taught them the word stocking and an ornament and all these other Christmas words.
Right.
And they were all popping up in this really cool light show. So it was it just happened by chance because I got the PowerPoint from a friend of mine and kind of altered it for my class. But it was really fun, and I could tell the look on the teachers' faces when they realized our topic was Christmas today, so they enjoyed it.
When I was a kid, we had a neighbor that had I guess you'd call it a light show in his front yard. That was what do you call it when it's like coordinated with, but it's like
synchronized?
Yes, it was synchronized with an all Christmas radio station. So they had a sign out front that said turn to 102.5, and it would be just like almost kind of classical Christmas music. And their light would sync up with the music.
How do you even do that? That's amazing.
I think it might be easier than one would think because there are light systems that automatically, based off of the sound, can have those light shows happen. So they probably just have it set to the radio station from their thing, and then so when you see it, it's just that would be my guess. I literally never thought about it until just now. So that was just me trying.
You're probably right, though. Makes sense.
Yeah, because there are like those. It's not like someone's in their living room, like controlling lights from a computer.
That would be a full-time job. You got to hire a sideman just to work your Christmas lights.
Full light and sound room. And this is a full Timmy and little Samantha have to sleep on the sofa because I've had to turn their rooms into production studios for the holidays.
Right, that's like the Griswolds on steroids right there. Oh man, that's great.
But I would say an early something that I don't know if it's necessarily better, but I think Americans definitely take Christmas lights to a whole nother level.
I would agree.
People put up Christmas lights all over the place. You can see Christmas lights at people's houses in Europe, and that's what I don't know other countries or continents, but I know pretty normally. But I don't think you'll see the level of production that you'll see in America with the full on reindeer set with the sleigh all lighted up. Right. And then like some sort of SpongeBob inflatable with like a Santa hat on. It's just like people take it to ridiculous levels.
Oh, it's on another level. Like I've seen Christmas lights here, but I would agree with you. It's nowhere close to the level that we have in the States. But people, I feel like, also have a lot more space. Where
That's
I
true.
live, I see apartments. I don't see individual houses.
Most people don't have just empty space in basements, in unfinished basements to fill with junk, or like garages to fill with junk.
Exactly. And I feel like Americans, a lot of times, we can be hoarders because we have all that extra space.
Probably. It might be a curse. I mean, there are many people that claim minimalism is the way to live life, and it's hard to be a minimalist and live in a big house.
Right. Oh, for sure. I don't think you can be. I think those are like
Is
being
that
a minimalist and living in a big house is like an oxymoron. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it could be like a big empty house.
Yeah, but what's the point?
Yeah,
Like,
I guess that's true.
Why,
You have a lot of
why
kids?
would-
I don't know.
maybe you better have a lot of kids to fill up that house. I don't know, but yeah, it's hard to say. I also wanted to tell you. So speaking of Christmas, I finally walked around the Christmas market here in Komutov.
Yeah.
And it's solid. There's it's all right on the main square, which is really nice. It's by the tower and the church. It's really beautiful, and the Christmas light is up. And they also have, every time I've even walked by the square, I can hear Christmas music coming out of this like one speaker, and it's mostly Czech. So I've been learning some Czech Christmas carols. So that's always solid.
Are they your traditional Christmas songs sang in Czech, or are they Czech Christmas songs?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Okay.
Because like they have a song, Ticha Noc, which is Silent Night.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah, yeah. And so they have that one, but then they have other ones like what's the name of it? Vesele Vanoce. I think that might just be what it's called, and that just means Merry Christmas in Czech. But it's like a specific Czech traditional Christmas carol, and that was playing earlier today. But what was interesting is I walked by it. I was hoping they'd have some good food, some tasty yidlo for all of our Czech speakers out there.
You sound like some like dude from Orange County. Get some yidlo, bro.
But
Tasty
yeah, so,
yidlo.
But unfortunately, they only had these special kind of potato chips they have here, and then turdelnik, which we've talked about. That's the
right.
chimney cake.
How special are these potato chips?
Well, they're like potato chips, and they're served on. It looks almost like is kebab the right term? When you have the meat on the skewer.
Yeah.
So it's like potato chips on a skewer.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting, but they do have. And tomorrow when I go, I'm going to go back to the Christmas market, and I'm going to get some svajak. Do you remember what that is by chance?
Is it an alcohol of some sort?
Yes, sir. You better believe it is.
I don't remember what it is. It sounds like some sort of liquor.
It's mulled wine. It's the Czech word for glühwein.
Okay.
Svajak.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you find any like potential knickknacks or gifts to get for people?
They had ornaments and stuff, but I'm gonna go visit a buddy of mine in a bigger city this weekend. It's called Hradec Králové, and he was telling me they have some good Christmas markets with some solid knickknacks. And as you know, my mom loves knickknacks, so I got to get me some
Your
knickknacks.
house is filled with knickknacks.
Hradec. That's the problem. Is I feel like when you have a family member who likes knickknacks, it's kind of like me with guitars. You can always get another guitar. You can always buy more knickknacks.
Yeah, but knickknacks are cheaper than guitars also.
That's true. I feel like you love guitar, or at least for me, I love a guitar more than my mom probably loves knickknacks. But who am I to judge?
Well, yeah, but I think part of that is just the inherent value of a guitar worth the inherent value of a knickknack. If a knickknack is knackered, then
if it's completely knacked,
if a knick-knack has been knackered past knack, then it's not that big of a loss. It's like there are more knickknacks out there. If like I could maybe it's hard to find the knickknack, but it's like, yeah, but this knickknack also only cost me $15.
right?
But no guitar has cost you $15 that, or at least, and if so, you probably don't care that much about it if it does.
I haven't found one for $15, but
Well, there you go.
I was talking to my students about
You
the
have
guy
to do some
who,
weird stuff on Craigslist to get a guitar for $15.
I was just gonna say. Well, there's a guy. You've heard about the story of the guy who traded a red paperclip and got a house, right?
No, I've heard I heard something similar though. Someone started with, I don't know what they started with, but it was something like that, and got a Porsche Boxster. I mean, it's like
nice.
a $20,000 car, but still, he started with something that was cheap like that.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out what I can trade here in the Czech Republic and get me build my way up to a nice guitar.
What they don't mention is all the non-monetary effort that went into getting
That's
to
true.
that house.
That's true.
It's like,
You're
yeah, I
not
didn't
wrong.
have to. Trading was only part of it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Jared, I think we should head into the shout-outs. What do you think, my dude?
I think so. Um, can I start? I have one
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
I have one that I would say is perfect for this episode. It is the perfect representation of American in 2018. Do you know who Ryan of Ryan Toys Review is?
Mm-mm.
Well, Ryan of Ryan Toys Review. Ryan is a YouTuber, and he with over the past year is the highest earning YouTuber.
Isn't he like 6 or 7 years old? I didn't look him up, but isn't he like 6 or 7 years old?
Oh yeah, that was gonna be the big reveal. He's 8.
Oh, what? He's 8.
Okay. That was gonna be the big reveal, but I haven't said. I want you to guess how many subscribers he has. We're going to go through a couple stats of his.
Okay. I mean, he's got to have over 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, of course.
2 million.
Yeah.
2 million, really?
No, I'm saying, yeah, more than that.
3 million.
All right, at this rate, we're going to be going for a while, Chad. You have to make some bigger leaps than that.
20 million.
We're going to 17 million plus. So
Ooh.
Damn near 18 million.
How many people are there on the planet Earth? That's like over.
Well, it's funny that you asked that. Let's get to the next stat that I want to ask you. How many views does he have overall? He's been doing this since March 2015.
Okay.
Which is crazy that he got this fat, like this big, this quickly. That's 3 years, 3.5 years, and he's got 17 plus million subscribers. How many views?
Oh God, easily over 1 billion. Right?
You talk like so. You almost sound like my parents or something. You talk like someone that knows nothing about YouTubers.
I mean, I don't know that much
yeah,
about
of course
YouTubers.
he has at least 1 billion. Each video is getting like 1 million, like over 1 million.
Okay, I don't know, 20 billion.
26 billion.
God damn, that's crazy.
And so guess how much guess how much that level of work. Obviously, so each video is probably averaging couple million, maybe 3, 4, maybe 1 million to 4 million. I'd say each video will average.
Okay.
How much do you think he earns? He earned in the past year, and he's the top earning YouTuber. This 8-year-old.
I would guess like 10 million.
Jesus Christ.
Am I off?
Double that.
20 million?
22.
Ooh,
This
dear
dude
Lord.
is out here balling.
He's going to be set for life by the time he's like, actually already by now he's
by the
set
time
for
he's now. Well, see, there's a whole lot of factors in that. That was going to be my next question. What is this kid? What's in this kid's future? Because one, his parents are involved with this as well. I don't know how involved. I mean, I don't know how involved they are, but I don't know if he had enough money to buy himself a Canon, a Canon video camera when he was 5?
right.
What did he do to earn money to buy that beforehand? I was just like, you can't help but wonder, what is this kid going to be like in 10 years when he's 7 or 18?
Oh man, I don't even know. My question is though, once
he doesn't have to go to college, he doesn't have to go to high school.
he doesn't even have to go to work, my dude.
Just
like,
keep making
he's
videos.
Set. But my question is,
I mean, legally he does.
Do you think he will retain that number of viewers as he isn't a kid anymore? Because isn't probably some of the novelty him being like a young kid reviewing toys?
I think it'll last longer than you might think.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, there's definitely going to be a point where it starts to turn weird. Where it's like, oh.
Well, he's just going to have to change up his game
and
not review
toys.
toys.
Should no longer be reviewing, I don't know what kids play with. Tickle Me Elmos?
Me either. That's probably inappropriate nowadays. With
that's a bad example. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's not my fault that's a bad example.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know what kids play with these days. But yeah, there is going to be a point. But I bet you he's going to have so much, hosting knowledge and ability, editing abilities, that
is he editing or are his parents editing?
I don't know, but I bet you he's going to pick up on it. Like, he's going to learn how to edit stuff. Well, you'd assume. I mean, there's no way
Can I
he's not
make a
living.
bold claim?
You think he's
I
going to
feel
be
like-
dead before
No, that
20
wasn't
before 27?
no, that wasn't my bold claim. My bold claim is, I bet you if he already has this kind of following, I bet you he'll be on television one day or have his own
That's a
type
good
of
call.
show.
It's a good call. Yeah, that's a good call. I'd be surprised if he hasn't gotten offers already.
Right. And maybe he has. Who knows?
Maybe there's a strategic. You got to find their strategic move. By the way, we're talking about an 8-year-old making like multi-million-dollar business decisions.
Right.
But like at some point you have to figure out when is it the right time to switch over and start entertaining some of these offers, because my appeal as a kid toy reviewer is starting to get a little old because I'm 15, 16, and people aren't really buying that I care about this stuff anymore.
Right.
And he also does like other videos. Like he does like these little kind of like kid pranks where they're like not really pranks, but you know what I mean. I had to scroll through his channel. I didn't watch any of this crap, but I should have, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's like I really don't care.
Right. That's crazy though. He's balling on another level. But I
know.
also hope that the child and his parents can handle this, and he won't turn out being some like deranged child star that we sadly hear about that Hollywood will make.
Did you know he's dating Lil Tay?
Of course I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about this kid to start with.
That's not true. He's not. Lil Tay's like what? She's like probably like what, 9 or something like that.
Somewhere around there.
But just the concept of them dating is already disturbing. But I can imagine some sort of social media star drama when they're like 16, 15, 16, and they start kissing each other and stuff. And it's like, like those are gonna be like the next celebrities. That's gonna be like when Leonardo DiCaprio and this dude from Spider-Man hung out when they were like kids and shit,
Tobey Maguire. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's just gonna be YouTubers.
Right.
YouTubers are the next are the next movie stars.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the internet has changed the entertainment game on a lot of levels.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the music game.
And the podcast. The podcast game has changed radio and your I would say your average podcast is not true. Like big podcasts are getting more views or more listens, and some more views than television shows. And like YouTube shows are bigger than YouTube shows, and podcasts and stuff on just general YouTube shows are bigger than a lot of TV shows, and a lot of podcasts are bigger than radio shows, and just have a bigger reach because obviously radio shows are on radio, so you have to be in the area mostly.
Right.
And it's just this is what society is coming to. And that sounds way more doomed than I wanted it to sound like. I think that's kind of
I think
cool
it's a good thing.
Yeah, me too.
I agree. I think it's
too.
more personalized. With a podcast, with YouTube videos. I was telling my students, I was teaching them the phrase a couple weeks ago, when you go down the rabbit hole, right? And I was using YouTube as an example because what will happen with me is there's like 3 or 4 guitar YouTube channels I love to watch. The guys have really good content. It's really entertaining. It's good information. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm only going to watch 10, 20 minutes. And then like 3 hours later, I'm like watching some random video about the weirdest guitar effects. Like there's this guitar effect that makes like anime sounds. Like Japanese, like anime. You play
what are
a note.
anime sounds though?
Well, it just makes like these weird
Like the sounds the characters would make, or the sounds the music in the background would be?
sounds a character would make.
Okay.
And it's really crazy. But yeah, and that's the cool thing though about the internet is
that how they make those?
I would assume so. I mean, I'm no audio
Or do they
technician.
speak it? Or I think it's just people speak. But there's actually people like when they're making the cartoons. I was going to say, is that how they make the cartoons? But that makes no sense. Never mind.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the guitar pedal. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
I go down those rabbit holes too with car videos too. Everyone has their
I'm
thing.
sure. Oh, definitely.
Ryan of Ryan Toys Review out here balling at the age of 8.
That's crazy.
And
kudos to you, little guy.
And I think that is something. I don't think this is something that Americans do better, but I think this is something that Americans laud as like this is something that we could only hope for, is to be a multimillionaire at 8. Like that's like the
Right. It's
like
the capitalist
it's
American
essentially
dream.
the American dream. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, mine is sadly not as ballin' as this, but I think this is still a great shout out. There are some kids that run their own nonprofit in Michigan. So this hit home for you and I.
Oh, nice.
And this nonprofit is to help the homeless. So just to give you some stats, well, how many people do you think are homeless in Michigan?
The entire state of Michigan?
Yeah.
Ooh. What's the population of Michigan? Can I start there?
Go for it. I don't even know off the top of my head.
I'll check. Because I can't just do it without knowing the population. That the population of Michigan is 9.9, so let's say 10 million.
Okay.
I would say there are.
Damn, dude, Michigan is the same size as the Czech Republic in terms of population.
Michigan is a deceptively large state. I think it's like the 9th largest state or something like that. 7th
Could be.
maybe.
Right.
It's a surprisingly large state, and you forget about the
UP.
the UP.
Since you and I are trolls, being from the Lower Peninsula.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess 1.2 million.
Homeless people?
500,000.
Homeless people?
Yeah.
9,000. Well, more than 9,000.
There's 9,000 homeless people in Michigan.
Yeah. According to the U.S.
not that bad.
Interagency Council on Homelessness.
1.2 million. That's a lot. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, that would be a ton of homeless people.
9,000 doesn't seem that bad, does it?
Well, it says more than 9,000. So who knows if it's
But I'm saying
10,000.
that's only like 1% of. That doesn't seem that bad. For some reason, I was like,
that's less than 1%, isn't it?
yeah, you're right. It is, but that doesn't seem. I mean, it's not great. I mean, no number is really great. Oh, that's great. But
Right.
I thought it would be worse.
Oh, for sure. Anyways, so there's this nonprofit.
How old are these kids?
Don't worry, I'll get there.
Oh, okay.
I'll get there. So this nonprofit is called Snuggle Snacks, which you know me being a wholesome and cheesy guy, I love the name. Or
Okay.
sorry, Snuggle Sacks, not snacks, but sacks, which are survival kits to homeless men and women that are provided to homeless men and women in Michigan. And it was started by an 11-year-old named Addison Goss.
Nice.
And so big shout out to you, Addison. It is a great thing to do this. And so they donate more than 1,000 of these survival kits every month. And these children do this while juggling school and other extracurriculars.
That's funny because, I think back to our buddy Ryan. And Ryan, I'm kind of concerned about. I'm honest. I'm genuinely curious. Like, what's Ryan gonna be like when he's 18? Like, he's balling out of control. And then when I hear about Addison, I'm like, Addison's gonna be just fine. Like,
Oh, for sure.
anyone that has this level of initiative, and I mean, I don't mean to take away from Ryan too, because I mean, there is some commitment that goes in the level of videos that dude's putting out. But like, just to have that initiative to want to help people like that at that young age is. That it's shows that the guy has a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to you.
It's a kind of, for me at least, gives me a little bit more faith in future generations and humanity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't agree, but I do love hearing these stories, and they do make me feel good. But it doesn't give me any faith in humanity. But they're still good just because I think the world's going to terrible places doesn't mean that there still aren't great people that deserve recognition out there.
Absolutely. And my last shout out for our episode today. Right. Or Addison, but, to each his own. Anyways, my last shout out for our episode is to the country of Luxembourg. Have you heard anything about Luxembourg in the news lately?
I remember we beat them when we played them in Nice's international school soccer when I lived in Germany. But other than that, no.
So they are the first country to make all public transport free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just imagine that freedom of just
that's like an American level of freedom right there, my dude.
Except no transportation is free.
Right.
It's although you're free, I guess, once you pay for it. But yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, of course, what everyone will say is, well, I mean, they can do it because it's such a tiny country. But it has to start somewhere. And I think also it starts putting the idea in other people's heads, and stuff like that will spread, especially throughout Europe. And I'm not saying it'll spread to everywhere, but I think that I definitely think that's an idea that'll spread, especially in like countries like similar like Estonia that are offering free Wi-Fi and stuff like
everywhere.
that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really amazing. Just to read that, and just a couple of facts. So I believe by 2020, all tickets will be abolished, which will save the collection of fares and the policing of ticket purchases. And so I think that's really amazing that they're doing this.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Luxembourg.
Shout out to Luxembourg. Home of the... It's a very small country. I didn't even know. I was going to say home of it. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
have you ever been to Luxembourg?
I have not, but it's on my list. I should have gone.
Is it really? You say that to every country I ask you about.
That's because I love to travel, my dude.
You just have a list that's just every country.
Well, no, I want to exactly. I just have a map with just points on every country on the map. No, but Luxembourg and Belgium are both on my list. When I was going to go to Belgium, I think it was in 2016, and it was a couple months after the bombing in the airport. I think it was the airport, right? In Belgium happened.
I don't remember that.
And I'm pretty sure it was an airport.
Belgium is underrated.
Really?
Belgium is definitely underrated. I mean, I one, because it's got the history. I mean, if it's obviously it depends on what cities you're going to, but like I've been to Bruges, I've been to a couple cities. I've been to Brussels, and I've been to a couple other ones. But like the history is there's a lot of history, and so just the city as you're walking through it, it's a lot of very old cities to walk through. Obviously, I've never been to like I haven't. Well, actually, actually, I have been to like the suburbs and stuff. But yeah, no, because I was there for soccer. But anyway, yeah, it's just it's very nice old. The food is kind of snooty because it's a little French inspired. But they got the great street food because they're known for the chocolates, they're known for the waffles, they're known for the French fries.
Also, good beer, right?
Great beer. They have a great beer history. They have. I mean, they're at least in America. They have most of the Belgian beers are pretty pricey.
That's true. You're right.
Belgian beers are like some of the more classiest of beers generally in America.
Good point. Yeah, so I looked it up. It was March 22nd, 2016. So I was there 2 or 3 months later. And
it was in an airport?
Yeah, it was in the airport in Brussels. I didn't end up going there, which isn't really a great excuse, but it's on my list. So hopefully I make my way out there.
Some would argue that that's the safest time to go. Lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place.
That's true. That's what some people say.
Speaking of that untranslatable, I think it's time to move on to our untranslatables.
Can I start us off?
Please.
So I thought I would change it up for you and for our listeners. And I have a Schweizerdeutsch or Swiss German untranslatable for you.
Okay.
Now, I have to warn you and the listeners out there, my Schweizerdeutsch, my Swiss German is not perfect, but I'm going to give this my best shot. So here we go. It is im Fass ha, which is im Fass haben.
Just say the whole thing first. Say the whole thing first.
That is the whole thing.
Im
Fass ha.
Well, say it. Okay, then say it again.
Im Fass haben.
Im Fass? I don't know what Fass is.
Fass is tap or barrel.
Oh, okay. In Fass haben?
Im Fass haben. Mm-hmm.
Is that like to be like cranky?
Nope.
Im Fass haben. To have like a stomachache, like to be hungover.
Ooh, that's a good guess, but no. For
like I'm
example,
in a barrel today. I can't.
For example, when I ask you this, if you know this untranslatable, I could say, Jared, emfasa, which just means, here, I'll just give it to you. It means to understand, to have it in the barrel, to understand.
Okay. So I did not emphasa right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of not knowing how to pronounce things, I mean, you might have struggled with your Swiss German, but my first one's Polish, which is just, I'm sorry. That's okay.
Polish is tough.
Svukacz dvuri vikalium. And that's looking for a hole in the hole. Looking for a HOLE in the WHOLE.
Okay. Hole in the hole.
Yeah.
So is that like you're trying to find... Is that like you're trying to understand something that you can't understand?
No. So I can give you an example.
Okay.
So, say you and I are roommates, and we're moving into one of our typical American mansions. Because I say the average American lives in what? Excuse me, 1 second. Whew. I'd say the typical American lives in what everyone else would call a full-on mansion. I'm just exaggerating, by the way, just so we're clear. And you and I are roommates because, we live in a mansion, but, I'm frugal. And we rented a U-Haul to move to this mansion. And we were saying, and I was telling our friends, I was saying, oh, man, Chad and I had to make 48 trips back and forth to get all of our stuff from our old mansion to our new mansion. And you step in and say, well, I mean, it was 46, but, it was a long day. And I'm like, all right, Chad, now you're just looking for a hole in the hole.
So you're just looking for something to complain about?
No, you're just nitpicking.
Ah, nitpicking. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, me too. A hole in the hole.
Nice.
And I think that one kind of makes sense, and it works in English too.
I would agree. Definitely.
Some of these I never do this because my memory, as the more episodes we do, the worse my memory gets on previous things we've talked about. But like sometimes I wish I could incorporate English versions of these untranslatables in the normal conversations. But I never think of it in the moment.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, this is my last untranslatable for this episode. And I have to give a special shout out to my mentor here in the Czech Republic because I was helping her with some phrases and explaining what they mean. And she gave me a really cool Czech untranslatable on the spot.
Okay.
So this is it. Usually I do my own research and I find mine all over the place on the interwebs, but this one comes from a native speaker, so I feel so much more confident about this one. So it is Žije si na vysoké noše, which means he lives on a high leg.
Is that like you get off your high horse? Like he's on his high horse? Thinks he's better than everyone? You think you're better than me?
Kind of. Not 100%.
He's thinks very highly of himself. He's very confident.
This has to do more with financial standing than confidence.
Rich?
There you go.
Kind of like Ryan.
we would say in English
Mighty
like
animal.
They live in the lap of luxury.
Oh, okay. What's the English translation again? The literal?
He lives on a high leg.
He lives on a high leg. Okay. Living the good life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have two more, but I'll save one of them for later. I'll only do one of them. I'll do the French one. And it is raconter des salades.
Something about a salad, right? Or lettuce?
Yeah, you're right. Something about a salad. It is, the literal translation is telling salads.
Telling salads. Is that when When you're just kind of talking to talk?
Almost.
Okay.
I think I think if I were to if I were to tell you that you're looking for, like, back to our other example, if I were to tell you that you were looking for a hole in the hole with my story, you would say, "Well, you're just telling salads."
So you're just talking a bunch of nonsense?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
Telling tall tales, telling nonsense.
Okay. I'm gonna
Just
start
making up
using that
stories.
one. I'm gonna use that one. Stop telling me salads.
There's actually a background to that. There's
Okay.
a reason. There's a rich history, not rich, but there is a history to this one that I know. This expression dates back to the 19th century and has a very interesting origin. The metaphoric expression operates with the understanding that a successful lie or tall tale is just like a good salad. A salad is a mix of ingredients that comes together to form a flavorful, varied dish, just as a good lie or tall tale combines exactly the right amount of humor, imagination, truth, and untruth. Whoever wrote this explanation, I always mess up exclamation, explanation, and one other one. Anyway, whoever made this explanation sounds like a liar.
Sounds
Because
like
this
they're
is-
telling salads.
This is the most romantic and beautiful explanation of a lie that I've ever heard. This is almost beautiful writing, like explaining the metaphor of salads. It's like whoever wrote this really enjoys lying and almost sees it as an art.
Right.
Not any schmuck out here trying to steal a candy bar can lie. This
Right.
takes artistry, master. Like, this guy is just living with a bunch of useless knickknacks in his house because he's the ultimate the ultimate liar. So yeah, I like the backstory and I like the telling salads. It's another one that I wish I could remember to incorporate into my daily lifestyle.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's solid. Well, Jared, I think it's time for us to share our knowledge as Americans of what other countries can learn from the United States. What do you think?
Yeah. I agree. And let me start by saying, I was thinking about this, and I thought this is slightly unfair. Because we did what the U.S. can learn from other countries, and now we're doing what other countries can learn from the U.S. So it's almost like a United States versus the world situation. One, making it a little bit harder, because we're saying, what is it that one country does that my top of the line studio has a water heater right next to me. We're not just we're talking about like what the U.S. It's just like not a fair fight. It's one against the world, and
Right.
this list was surprisingly hard to come up with things. Nonetheless, this is America.
Right. I agree with you. I
And
even
I
tried
found
to do
things. Plenty of things.
I even tried to do some Googling, and all the Googling I did, I tried to reword my Google searches, and every time it was still what other countries or what the US can learn from other countries,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of what I would put
Yeah.
in
You
the
had to get
Google search bar.
real tricky with your wording. Or
Right.
also, yeah, I noticed that too. I'll start with some easy ones. We'll start off light. Just
Okay,
get this
sounds
party
good.
started, you know?
Sounds good. Ooh, all right, let's get this started.
I don't know why I'm in such a good mood. Anyway,
It's one of those days, man. I feel that too.
free refills.
You stole mine. You stole mine.
I mean,
Absolutely.
That's numero uno.
Oh, for sure. I'll never forget the first time I went to Germany with my parents. And we were there and it was kind of hot and we'd like hiked up this big hill. I was really thirsty, so I like drank my Fanta real quick. And my uncle said something to my dad in German, and at the time I couldn't speak German. My dad was like, "You need to slow down. Like the next, like we're gonna have to buy the next one." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they bring it out in a glass, but what you don't know is in the back they poured it from a bottle into that into that glass. It's like, you don't have a fountain back there that's just unlimited?
Right?
That's
I
just
feel like
water and
fountain
sugar?
drinks just aren't as common in Europe.
I don't think outside of American fast food, can you find them?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, and even with water too.
I was just gonna say water is another big one.
Forget the soda, which is already a gluttonous thing. But even with water, it's hard to find. It's almost impossible to find a free refill on a water because those are also coming from the same places that the sodas is coming from.
Exactly. Although I have to admit, although I would love to have free water here, I do think that the mineral water they have here, because it's mineral water and it has different properties in it, I think it is better for you than just straight out of the tap.
Unless you're in Austria. That is those true. Austrians brag about their tap water.
And they're not telling any. They're not
That's true.
telling you salad. It's
no.
It's
There's
definitely
no telling
yeah.
salads.
If you go to Vienna, try the tap water because I'm pretty sure, isn't it brought in from the Alps by aqueducts or something like that?
Yeah, I think I don't know what an aqueduct is per se, but I think what I'm about to say is essentially an aqueduct. But yeah, I think it essentially comes like tap water is essentially straight from the mountains, like with very little processing done to it, if any, except for being filtered, obviously, and whatnot. But and I think that it's just the freshest of, and it's very very high mineral content because it's not tampered with. It's just straight from the mountains. And I even remember when we were in the orientation and they were like almost like they were bragging about this water.
They were 100%
and
bragging.
all of us Americans were like, all right, relax. It's like you guys are having like religious experiences. So then we all drank it. We're like, all right, they have a point. This is some good water.
It's crisp. I'm going to bring like 5 empty water bottles with me to Vienna and just fill them with that Vienna tap water.
And then just you'd sip on it like you're at a restaurant.
Right.
And you're not getting free refills.
Although, even though the tap water is really good there, I still remember getting weird looks by like waiters when I would ask for the tap water in Vienna. When we were at restaurants.
Yeah, they still don't really do tap water at restaurants. That's a good point.
And they don't bring it to you. Like, it's not like it's not like in the States where they'll either have like some bread at the table and some water. You have to ask for the water. Some restaurants might give you bread, but it depends on the restaurant.
They offer water, but you have to pay for it.
Right.
But they're going to bring it up.
Except I don't think you have to pay for tap water.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But they wouldn't offer tap water.
Correct.
You'd have to ask for that.
Right.
And they'd be like, all right, peasant.
And for any of our listeners out there visiting Vienna, the magical word is Leitungswasser. Leitungswasser bitte. And then you're good to go.
Or, if you're in the Czech Republic, remember this phrase.
Mluvite anglicky.
And if the answer is no, then you're screwed. Or how do you say true. No? Not I know is yes.
Ne.
If you hear ne, then go somewhere else. America is truly land of the free. Because the list of free stuff just keeps going. Free bathrooms.
That's true.
Easier to get a bathroom walking down the street, which we've talked about before. Because I've mentioned that you sometimes you see more party waste,
right,
left in city streets in Europe at next morning. And you don't really see that, and you made the point that it's very easy in America to run into a bathroom. One, because bathrooms are free, and two, because there are places that are open 24 hours more reliably in America, which
Correct.
is another thing that maybe other countries could learn. But I don't know if that's technically a good thing.
Right. I was conflicted about that one as well. Just the hours of operation for different stores, shops, gas stations.
Plan better.
Right. That's true. That's true.
It's good, though, if there's like an emergency, because it's usually like a drugstore. So it is, maybe you need like Band-Aids at 2 a.m.
What is really cool is in Prague, if you go to Florence, which is the bus station, they actually have a vending machine with like basic over-the-counter meds.
Okay.
Which I've never seen before anywhere else, and I thought that was really cool.
Well, yeah, the most I've seen is like some like Tylenol or something, like that little 2-pack.
Right. But I would agree with you. I think sometimes
2-pack Shakur. There's a part of me sometimes that wants to be like I was just like, just let it go, just keep going. I was like, I can't. I have to say it.
That's fair. Oh, that's good. I would agree, though. I think it is not like here. I have to plan very strategically when to go to the grocery store because my grocery stores here close at 8. I just found out this was like a life changing revelation here in the Czech Republic. I found out the Tesco in Chomutov is actually open until 9.
My grocery store's open until midnight.
Well, exactly. And you know, I'm conflicted though because it's a good thing at least for the customers that it's open late.
Right.
But then you also think about the workers and they don't get to maybe see their families.
Yeah.
You know, so
And
it's a pro and a con.
I'll say this: if I'm ever going to the grocery store later than 7 or 8 o'clock, it kind of feels like I'm not going to say a failure on my part, but it's usually could have been like usually even as I'm going there, I'm like this could have been avoided. I don't need to like
Right.
like it's like, oh, I forgot to get this, or oh, I should have. I should have figured out earlier what I actually wanted for dinner, or it's just me like on a Friday being like, what do I want to eat for dinner? And then next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, I know.
I would always go to the grocery store in America late like that to buy booze for like the next day.
Yeah, see, that's
Or
a little
like
bit
prepare
trickier
for a party.
because I live in a place where you can. They just within the past couple of years you can buy. Some grocery stores have beer and wine. But liquor is a separate store. Granted, the liquor store is open until like 10, so
Okay.
you should. They give you enough time.
Right. Solid. What other things could the rest of the world learn?
Speaking of, we were talking about stores, free shopping carts. You don't have to put
that's
the coin in.
true. That's true. You're
There are
right.
a couple stores here that I have just started doing that. I remember seeing it somewhere, but I do not remember where it was. Maybe it was Whole Foods.
Okay. Aldi also does that, but that's a German grocery store, so it makes sense.
Oh, maybe it was Aldi. They have a couple Aldis here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I guess I don't know how. I don't know, and this is speaking as someone that doesn't own a grocery store, so I don't know the thievery rate. But it is just like I don't know. It's a level of freedom that I feel like it always goes back to freedom that I think I like a level of trust that I kind of like. It's like just let us have our. What do you think? Do you have any reasoning behind that in your head? Why you think that would be that they do the coin thing, and that
Same exact reason. I think it's just for. Although really, I mean,
who doesn't? It's a euro.
It's if
you're in Europe or something.
In
like
some
that.
places, it's not
If
even a
you're not-
euro. It's like 50 cents.
Right.
Which that shopping cart costs more than 50 cents.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think the big thing in America, especially with customer service and shopping and everything, is to make it the easiest and most convenient for the customer. Whereas I think in other places in the world, it's not the same way, right? Like in America, we also have free shopping bags. I've spent easily. I have like a thing of bags over here. Chilling in my apartment, and I've probably spent over, I don't know, maybe $3. I mean, I've been here for 3 months, so $3 isn't bad.
But those are also higher quality bags that are reusable. The paper bags I get, I like some every now and again I get paper bags. I like that because I also use them for recycling. I'll put bottles and stuff in there. But when you get the plastic bags, those bags almost are like they're not solid enough to be reused.
Right.
So even though they're free, it's like at least in Europe when you're paying for bags, the bags are promoted as bags to be reused.
Right.
I'm trying my hardest not to stick up for because this is about what America can do, and now I'm like, well, but they actually have a point.
Right.
But it is nice also if you're just getting a couple. I don't know. It is there. I can definitely see the benefits to the free bags too because it is, I guess, more convenient, which is what we're all about here. In America.
Exactly. It's about convenience. If you look at when stores are open until shopping carts being usually free, you don't have to put any coins in them. Free bags. The other thing I also wanted to mention too was I think, although I've really only traveled to Europe, I've been to Mexico. Canada doesn't really count to me. That's America's. It's pretty close to America.
Country, though. I think Canada would happily
That's true.
not be lumped in with us.
That's true. Yeah. And I don't blame the Canadians, to be honest. But I think in America, I think we are number one in terms of friendly customer service.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I'd say we tend to put more emphasis on customers always right. That's definitely an American thing I've noticed.
Right. Which is also very problematic because I've worked in customer service.
Yeah.
And the customer is definitely not always
There's some
right.
entitled people out there.
Right. Most definitely. But I really enjoy the fact that I can walk into most stores in the United States and I'm greeted by somebody, hi.
Do you need that? Like if
I like it. I like it.
Walmart has those greeters that stand there and it's like hello and it's like hi.
I kind of like it. I even
feel welcomed.
I would go to the Meijer, which is like a grocery store for those of our listeners not in Michigan or the Midwest. And there was this nice old woman who would be the greeter, and whenever I would leave, I would always try to say goodbye, have a nice day, and beat her to it before she told me.
Oh my God. We live such different lifestyles.
I'm just weird like that. We do. We do. But we got to provide balance to the podcast because if it was just me, it would be just too damn cheesy,
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I was like, that's the cheesiest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I believe it. But I do think we really pride ourselves on friendly customer service. But it's also a double-edged sword. Like if you go to a restaurant, I think usually the service is really good, but it also can get a little annoying.
And people, well, the thing about the restaurants is that the customer also has the ability to hold a tip ransom.
Right.
So the friendly it adds sort of different. Even though there's customer service tends to be better, it's more like a hostage situation. Like it's a different dynamic that requires this higher level of customer service.
Oh, definitely.
Which I think benefits the customer as far as customer service goes, because you in general you get a nicer, more attentive waiter if you like attentive.
Right.
But also a lot of that is just so it's like, oh, I hope these people don't screw me over because my most of my paycheck is based off of how much these people are tipping me.
Right. That's true. That's a very good point.
But people also argue, well, that's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for a friendly attitude.
Right. And the service. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a different type of atmosphere, at least in Europe. Like today I went out for lunch and I didn't get a menu or even waited on for like 3 or 4 minutes until I was there. And I'm sure Americans probably will just straight up left the restaurant.
Unacceptable.
Exactly.
I'm taking this to Yelp.
Right.
Do you write Yelp reviews?
Oh no, I'm not a Yelper at all.
No.
No.
I don't even look at Yelp really. I look at Google reviews.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm sure you could even predict this, Jared. But the only time I ever write comments is if I have a positive comment to give.
Well, that's good. Well, no one ever believes the person that only gives negative reviews.
Right.
Because then it's like, well, I mean, there's no baseline of what's good here. It's all bad. Like then we can't believe any of it if it's all bad.
Right.
But it's like it's the people that only do good reviews where it's like this person had such a good experience that they went out of their way to write a good review. That's at least the impression.
Exactly. And that's the only time I write reviews is if it's really worth
on Yelp or Google
not
or
on Yelp, usually Google or I've written a couple Amazon reviews in the past for like some music equipment and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I've done a couple Amazon ones. I've done Amazon ones. I've done. Well, see, I can think of 2 Amazon or 1 or 2 I've done. One I can think of specifically was I bought a new mixer and it didn't work at all, and I wrote that it didn't work. But I almost felt like I was warning people. And I didn't say anything mean. All I said was I bought the mixer, and it didn't work. The phantom power button was stuck. So I returned it, and they gave me my money back.
Right. I think that's good, though. And that's another thing I like. I like about the United States is that it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but it seems like people do sometimes go out of their way to help and warn other people about things. Maybe that's not just an American thing, but it seems like I know a lot of people in the States who will do that.
Well, yeah, I think that's because we have other countries tend to have a more mind your own business attitude than Americans do. I think Americans are way more open to talking to strangers on the street, way more open to just being friendly to strangers than a lot of other countries are. Where it's like, and I'm not to say that that's a good or a bad thing on either America or countries that aren't like that. It's just how people are. But
right,
yeah, I think that just comes with people being way more talkative in America.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I have heard from a lot of Europeans that's a stereotype I like to hear when they say Americans are nice and open and warm and friendly.
Yeah.
And that's a stereotype that I am happy to be a part of while I've been here in the Czech Republic. I always
hear that pretty regularly too from non-American people.
Right.
Is that, people are so helpful.
Right.
It's like, just don't ask them about their personal views and
correct.
They'll be friendly.
That's true. That's true.
Guess.
And I think for a lot of Americans, if you live in the United States for a long enough time, it comes off a little bit fake or superficial, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
What does?
The friendliness and the helpfulness? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But like I've actually been told by a couple Czech people, like, oh my gosh, you're so friendly and you're so helpful. Like, and I think I don't know if they expect, right, but I don't know if they expect that I'm thinking about like getting something in return, but I really like helping people just because it's nice and the right thing to do. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of Americans, not all Americans, but there are a lot of Americans who will go out of their way to help others.
I think there's a lot of pride in like the right thing to do here.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
Here, I live in America, by the way. I keep saying here, but it's not really here for you.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you on that. I think I often hear people whenever people talk about positive stereotypes, it's often that people are friendly here, and that is nice to hear because it's like, oh, that's good. I think to go along with that friendliness, I think is also the diversity. I think that we uniquely get. We have a unique diversity that you don't get in most other countries. Most other countries have large, like that do have quote unquote minorities, tend to have like larger groups of specific people from specific areas depending on where you're at, and it's not like in America where you can get such a wide range of large communities of different ethnicities and nationalities, and I think that's cool. And like even in like it goes even farther past like the common like Korean communities or Japanese communities or say Dearborn is a big Middle Eastern community in Michigan. Mm-hmm. But like there are areas in Philly that have like big like Portuguese communities, like even like tiny like sort of tiny countries have good representation. You can get, I think there's good representation for just about every, not every, but a large
almost
variety
every. I would agree
of
with
nationalities.
You. Yeah.
And I think if you're in a big enough city, you can find a group of like-minded people, no matter how big or small it is. It might be a few people, but I bet you can at least find a few people, even if you're in, say, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and you're like, oh, I miss I don't know, I miss Serbia.
Might be a stretch in Wyoming, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. As I was saying that, I was like,
I got a question for you. Did you hack into my pod prep notes, because you are literally stealing all of the points I had?
Well, give me some.
But great minds
since
think
I'm
alike.
just saying everything. Give me some.
I want to
let's
just
see.
add
Let's see if maybe you've hacked into mine.
Okay. Well, I also just want to add that the diversity, in my opinion, is what really makes America beautiful and makes America great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, America to me is the only country that I know of on the planet that has so many different groups of people, so many different languages. And for those of you who don't know, there is no official language of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
English
when people
is not our official language.
correct. So when people hear people speaking Spanish and they want to be a bigot and say, "This is America, speak English," there's no official
Yeah.
language.
Technically,
So-
it should be, "This is America. Speak whatever you want."
exactly. And who knows? Maybe one day that will be a mantra.
Speak Esperanto.
Exactly. Or conlang,
Yeah.
speak some Elvish or something.
Make up your
But
own
yeah,
language.
Exactly.
This is America. Make up your own language.
That's
That's
right.
what I'm going to say to someone that's telling someone to speak English.
That's
Say,
perfect.
"This is America.
That's
Make
perfect.
up your own language."
Well, the one that I also wanted to mention that I think America has that's really amazing is the fact that we do have freedom of speech.
Yes, of course.
I can say all sorts of negative things about the government, and I will not be thrown in jail for it.
Can I say this as well about freedom of speech? I think freedom of speech gets confused here often, where it's like people talk about when people that say like some right-wing nut like Milo Yiannopoulos wants to speak somewhere, people are protesting him, and he gets taken off of platforms. That's not infringing on your right of free speech. That's the people speaking and saying, "We don't want to hear you." Infringing on the right of free speech is the government coming in and arresting you for saying that. And the government's not stopping you from saying it. It's just people don't want you on their platform saying that stuff because it's not a good look. But you have the right to say it. It's just people also have the right to say they, along with that free speech, is people have the right to say they don't want to, like they don't like you.
Exactly. The thing about free speech that I think a lot of people don't understand is free speech does not mean that you are immune to any consequences.
It's not freedom of consequence. Yeah,
Exactly. If you say
it's
things
freedom
that
of consequence from the government, though.
That's true. Good point.
But that doesn't mean you're free of consequence from society.
Right, and the general public. Absolutely. I agree. And the other thing too is we have freedom of speech and we also have freedom of religion.
Yes.
And I correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but I feel like in America you won't be prosecuted or persecuted for any religion you want to practice. If you want to practice Scientology,
No.
great. If you want to practice Judaism, perfect. If you want to, believe in Islam, go for it.
Have you heard of the Westboro Baptist Church?
I have. Yeah.
No one's stopping them from raising their signs up that I'm not even going to say.
Right.
I listened to a podcast a couple of years ago about someone that used to be in the Westboro Baptist Church. Or for those of you who don't know, just Google it and you'll see some of the signs that they say. And I was texting my friend about this crazy podcast. She's talking about what the... And she's like, "Wow, what did their sign?" And the person would ask me, "What did the sign say?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't even want to text it to you.
Right. For
Just
sure.
Google it."
Yeah. I don't blame you.
It's just terrible stuff.
Well, Jared, I have a couple more, and these aren't my own. I found these on a website. And I wanted to...
Before
got
you
another
say
one.
those, though,
Yeah.
along with the freedom of speech and freedom of religion is, if we're going through the Bill of Rights, freedom of press as well.
Oh, that's true.
And press is being bastardized these days.
That's true.
But press is really our only hope for getting, reliable, in theory. I'm saying in theory.
Right.
For getting reliable and unbiased news and hearing about what's happening in society and the government and stuff like that. And people have the freedom to speak on whatever topics they want. And not have fear of, I mean, you might get murdered, but that's not the government.
Right.
Yeah, no, but it all goes back to freedom. And so freedom of press. I just want to, I don't want to come back to that later since we're talking about things that all
right.
kind of
Good
originate
call.
from the Bill of Rights, I guess, is also the freedom of press. And it really kind of does make me nervous, all this fake news stuff, because it's like, you're like, you're ruining something that is like very necessary to society, and it's being bastardized, and the whole concept of free press is like, and now no one knows what to believe.
Right. Which
And
is
that's
why
there's no sources that someone could be like, okay, since you have presented this source, we can now agree. That doesn't exist.
Well, the problem is, how do you argue with someone who doesn't believe in facts that have been backed up?
Right.
With
they just want to
credible
believe
evidence.
whatever they want to believe, whatever that is.
Right.
It's
exactly.
dogma.
Exactly. And so yeah, I agree with you. We live in a strange time right now where the press, I think the role of the press is changing because of what's going on in our administration, and we'll see how that all plays out. Who knows? But yeah, I would agree with you. I think the other thing is too, in theory, obviously this is not 100% true, but in theory, anyone in America should have equal opportunities. In theory.
Don't even get me started. But yes, in theory,
And
everyone in America is fed the idea that it's definitely. Well, I'll say this: it's definitely, I think, for someone that has a dream of becoming some sort of millionaire or becoming rich in something, this is about as good a place as any to start, I would say.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
I think I think we are known for making it very easy to start businesses, very easy to fail a business,
Right.
And yeah, I would agree with you. If you want to, obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into that. That I'm biting my tongue so hard that it's about to fall off, not wanting to get into.
Right.
But
sure.
but yes, in theory, obviously, I would agree with you that if someone wants to start from scratch in hopes of making it big, your best bet is probably to start here, I would say.
Right. I would agree. I would agree. All right. So I have a couple little statements by a website run by, I believe, Dinesh D'Souza.
Okay, why? Okay, go ahead.
Is that a bad source to go by?
Do you know who Dinesh D'Souza is?
I do not. No.
Just Google him. Google him.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna regret this, aren't I?
I can't even. We can't. I can't let you bring this piece of full on shit.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm still gonna read you a couple of these, and feel free to share on them if you want, Jared. But I think some of these are well, we'll see. Let's just talk about them.
All
Okay.
right, well, let me before you get into it, let me just state that I think Dinesh D'Souza is a full-on piece of fucking garbage. And if he disappeared tomorrow and never showed up again, I would not miss a minute of sleep.
Okay, fair enough. tell us how you really feel. All right. So he says on his website, America offers more opportunity and social mobility than any other country, including the countries of Europe. What do you think about that? True or false?
Yeah, the social mobility thing is tough, but yeah, now I'm being like hypercritical, but but yeah, I mean, yeah, but because I would say that, I mean, at least I know that in countries like England and just the UK in general, there's more of a they're and even and countries like India as well, and a lot of Middle Eastern and Asian countries run off of more caste-based systems that are heavily based off of what your kind of financial and social ranking is, and it's kind of hard to move out of those rankings in certain cultures.
Right. Now that I think about this, so I looked up, as I said, I try to Google things that are good about America, whatever, right, to get some ideas for this episode. Now it makes sense that, of course, a right-wing source is what we're going to find.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
By the way, if you want to read a great book, read Dinesh D'Souza's book, The End of Racism, in which he claimed that exaggerated claims of racism are holding back the progress among African Americans in the U.S. He defended the Southern slave owner and notes, the American slave was treated like property, which is to say pretty well. A reviewer to the Journal of a reviewer for the Journal. All right, I'm done. I'm just gonna stop.
Oh man, how can you even say that? Like, oh god. Anyway,
by the way, I don't know what he is, but he's some sort of minority. He's some sort of brown dude himself.
He's Indian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess that makes sense.
He's Indian.
Yeah,
he's an Indian-born
in
conservative political commentator, author, filmmaker, and conspiracy theorist, often described as far right by media sources.
His first wife's name was Dixie.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, you're right, Dixie Brubaker. You're right, Dixie. Interesting.
Oh, that's funny. Dixie.
He went to Dartmouth College. Interesting. Anyways, okay. Next up on his website, work and trade are respectable in America. What do you
not
think?
true. That's a myth that we've been fed to believe. The right wing, the right wing people use blue collar people as their pawns, and it's the same thing with GM. Just fired 14,000 plant members, and there's a lot of those people are the supporters, and they still are standing for this person that claimed that he'd bring those jobs back, but they're moving to Mexico because that's where it's cheaper to build cars.
Right.
So I don't, and they're not, and it's not even. It's kind of a lot. It's kind of a not fully understood too, because they did lay off a lot of people, but they're also doubling down on like electric cars and stuff. So the irony of like the person you supported, you lost jobs to like anyway.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's another episode. Okay.
I don't know if I fully agree with that one.
Okay. Next one. America has achieved greater social equality than any other society.
Did you just hear the quote I just read? Do I need to read more quotes from this guy? You're gonna. I don't even. I almost don't even want to respect that with an answer coming from the guy that just read what I just read to you.
Right. That's true. I mean, basically, I think what they mean is,
and I don't. By the way, these things were not on my list.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we'll just skip that one.
Chad almost looks like he's in trouble, but he's still trying to work. I'm not mad at you, Chad, but he looks like he's in trouble and he's like sweated through. He's like, what about okay, not that one. That's cool.
Right.
What about
Okay, wait.
okay.
I wanna read this one because this one is just laughable.
Okay, didn't see that coming. What about this one?
All right, I do want to read this one just because I think this is hilarious, and I don't know how you can write this with a straight face. Okay.
By the way, at least I almost kind of wish I didn't tell you who he was, and I would like to see if you would have start questioning this list at some point.
Maybe not.
Unprompted.
I don't know. Okay.
But it's hard for me to even hear that name and not just go, oh my God.
Hey, and you've made me smarter from it, so I really appreciate it, buddy. So the next one, and I love this one because I don't know how you can, with a straight face, say this. So here we go. America has the kindest, gentlest foreign policy of any great power in world history.
How long has the war in Iraq been going on?
Too long. Too long.
15 years. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, I will say this. We have definitely helped out a lot of our foreign allies. However, we've also bombed the shit out of a lot of others. And
that's the thing. Is he can make claims that we've done a lot of good because we have done a lot of good, but those claims are I'd say like negated by all the negative that's been done, and exponentially negated. Even though, yeah, of course, we've done a lot of great aid, and I think that in the past, because you brought up Dinesh D'Souza, you ruined a good thing here. I was all ready to have a nice list of things that America does great, and now you're causing me to be like, America's not that great. This episode's really taking a turn.
All right, well, let me change it up for you.
What else does he have? Does he have any more? I like getting angry though. This is fun.
Nope, I closed out the tab. Got too sweaty, got too worried, closed out the tab.
I have another one for you.
Okay. And
this would have been better if I had remembered to bring a beer, but America, I think a lot of other countries can learn from America's beer. From what I've learned, Americans are less restricted because there are a lot of purity rules in European beers that kind of limit what you can do with a beer. And within the past 10, 15, 20 years, the craft brewery scene has exploded in America.
Oh, for
and
sure.
You get crazy things like I would imagine some of these imperial IPAs and double IPAs and all the stuff that I've drank, you can't even really do under a lot of those purity rules that have governed beer for half a century at this point, about 500 years.
Right. Yeah.
And in some places, maybe even in Belgium, maybe even longer than that, depending on the beer you're drinking.
Right. Germany too.
And so I think that hey, over there in Europe, loosen up your collar a little bit. Get a little crazy. See what you can do with some other ingredients. And much like the struggle that you seem to have in the Czech Republic, it doesn't seem like there's much variation in options.
I would agree with that for sure.
And I can go to any local beer store and just stare in a fridge for not hours, that's ridiculous, for minutes, and see just a wide variety of colors and flavors and
Right.
and
For sure.
and whatnot. And I think that's cool. I like that. Another one I want to ask you about: guitars.
I mean, America is, unless you're talking strict like handmade classical guitars, America is for sure the place to go for some of the highest quality guitars. You have makers like Gibson, Fender, Martin, Taylor, and Paul Reed Smith, all from the United States.
Have you heard of Epiphone?
Also, actually, I have a bunch of Epiphone guitars. I'm a little
Okay,
bummed
so
I
you're a
didn't
fan.
mention that one. Oh yeah, yeah, I really like Epiphone. Epiphone is
Okay.
actually now a sister company of Gibson, though.
Okay.
So Gibson bought them
Man,
out.
see, that's America right there.
That is true. That is true. But
They do that everywhere, though.
I
That's
have to
not just
say,
an
I have to say though, like the thing is, most of the guitars I own, because I'm not a millionaire. Most of my guitars have been built overseas. But if you buy an American-made guitar, at least the word on the street is the quality of parts is better, the quality of craftsmanship is better. Of course, you pay a lot more. So, for example, I can buy. So I have a Fender Telecaster and a Fender Stratocaster, two of my favorite electric guitars, and both of them were made in Mexico.
Telecaster and Stratocaster, two different guitars.
Yes.
Okay.
They're basically different body shapes, and then the sound is slightly different. But they're both made by the company Fender. And Fender has a plant in Mexico. They used to have a plant in Japan. I'm not sure if they still do. But I know in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of what they call MIJ, made in Japan, and then MIM is made in Mexico. But, so for example, if I were to buy a new made in Mexico Stratocaster or Telecaster, it'd cost me probably about $500. If I bought a brand new made in American Telecaster, Telecaster or Stratocaster, it would cost me upwards of $1,000.
Wow.
So you're paying
So
double.
just to get it made in America, have you ever handled any of these made in America guitars?
Oh yeah, I've played a lot of them, and they play great. They sound great.
Can you tell like a quality difference? Have you gone like Fender, Mexican made Fender Telecaster straight to an American, not straight to, but then played an American Telecaster and been like, oh yeah, I see where that extra $1,000 or $500 is going.
I mean, I think the difference is that the little details are higher quality. So so the smaller metallic parts, your volume knobs, your bridge and your saddle where your strings sit, is usually slightly higher quality. The pickups, that's where the sound is brought through your guitar, is usually also much higher quality. But the thing is, like, I just can't justify paying double for it when I could probably switch out some of those parts over time and still save. I still wouldn't have to pay double.
Right.
You know, if I swapped out the electronics and the other hardware, I would guess it cost me around $200 to $300. I'm still $300 under what I would pay for a Made in American. If I had the money, though, I would only buy Made in Americans. But right now, I don't.
And the thing about that is it's almost kind of like a false, like they're adding a false level of like a false. They're the ones making like the American ones sound so that special, because that American guitar could easily be made in Mexico or Japan if they just gave them those materials, you know, like so like the whole idea of made in America is almost kind of an illusion. It's like, yeah, it's better because it's made in America. It's just we just happen to choose to use slightly better quality parts in America and then give slightly lower quality parts to the manufacturers in other countries.
Right. And I've heard at least the workmanship of older Fender guitars that were made in Japan. I've heard the workmanship is really, really good. So, yeah, it's really hard to say. I think the reason why I would buy a Made in America Stratocaster or Telecaster in the future if I had the money is actually not because it's necessarily double in terms of quality. Even though it's double the price, the quality might not be twice as good, but you are paying for that American worker.
Right.
And I like supporting my fellow Americans.
Okay. That's good. That's good. You drive an American car. You
I do.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were gonna say there is something like the authenticity of this classically American guitar being made in America.
I mean,
That would be
go ahead.
no. I was gonna say that was gonna be my guess.
Right. And the thing is, like nowadays, I mean, unless you buy like a legitimate handmade, custom built guitar, most of the guitars nowadays are made on a factory line, and you could produce them anywhere in the world, and the quality will still be fairly decent.
Right.
So that's why, especially for Fender, I mean, Fender guitars were some of the first kind of factory line guitars. I mean, started in America, started in, I believe, California. But the thing is, like, you pay half the labor in Mexico or half the labor in Japan, you can still
Right.
get really good quality.
I don't think you pay half the labor in Japan, but okay.
Maybe not, but at least you won't pay the same amount of price at the end for the
Right.
product.
Right.
But you know, the funny thing about that is there's a company of guitar strings I will only buy for electric guitar and most acoustic guitars, GHS, because they're made in Michigan. They're made in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Oh, cool.
And I've played
Nice.
other strings. The tones sound good from other strings. I don't know if it's necessarily better with GHS or not, but I just like supporting my fellow Michiganders. It feels good to buy a product knowing I'm helping out my brothers and sisters in Michigan.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I like that feeling. I would say one freedom I think a lot of Americans are glad we don't have is the freedom to smoke anywhere.
That's true.
We even for all this freedom talk, we have pretty strict smoking laws as far as where you can smoke. There are a few other countries that have strict laws on that. Like I would assume, this is just a guess, but I'm going to assume countries like Singapore have very strict laws on where you can smoke, and because I know they have strict laws on where you dispose of that stuff.
Okay. That would make
Singapore
sense.
is known for having very strict littering laws.
Okay. Interesting.
But anyway, back to smoking. I do like. I mean, just about anyone that doesn't smoke, which I would assume is more than half the population, likes the fact that you can't smoke in most restaurants.
I would agree.
There are a few remaining that you can smoke in, but those are anomalies. And in general, you can't smoke in restaurants, and it's nice. The air's clean. It's not hazy. You don't have to dip your clothes in peroxide when you get home.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Is there anything else you have that other countries can learn from the United States?
Yeah, this one might give me some flack, but I'm going to stand by this. This is my final one. Entertainment. We have the best entertainment in the world.
I was going to say the same. I also think music as well.
Yeah, I'd say we're pioneers on many of the reigning forms of like popular music, whether it be jazz, rock, hip hop. All that stuff is purely American.
Blues,
those are pure
gospel.
blues, right? All those country. All those are purely American forms of entertainment that are now international. You know,
Right.
our musicians are are internationally known. Not even our musicians. Like how often do you hear about like people talking about like, oh, The Rock, who's a famous actor for anyone who doesn't know who The Rock is.
Right. Dwayne
Oh,
The Rock
is
Johnson.
the highest earning actor or like Keanu Reeves is the highest earning actor in China or something like that.
Right.
Where it's like or like Kevin Hart or something like that, where it's like there's a very high exchange rate on our celebrities.
Right.
And our TV, our movies are that, and people can say that, oh, we have good stuff coming from our little country that you've never heard of, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you do, but also all of the like you're also getting, just almost no matter where you are, you're getting American television shows on your TV
Or movies.
or movies on your TV, whether it be dubbed or subtitles,
Right.
or you're getting American music somehow.
Exactly.
And it's just infused its way into global culture, if that is even something that is a thing.
Right.
I don't know.
I think it will become a thing. Because
Yeah, I guess
globalism.
with the internet, it's
Yeah.
kind of becoming more of a thing.
Right. Absolutely. And the other two things I wanted to mention that are somewhat related to entertainment is I do think we do have some of the best athletes out there. If you look at just sheer Olympic medals.
Ooh. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. That one might get more flack than the entertainment one.
Could be. But I think if you look at overall Olympic medals, we usually do very well in the Olympics.
Okay.
Granted, we do have a huge population, so that helps.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're comparing like basketball.
But even in the Winter Olympics, we did really well.
You're right. You're right. Do we have the most? But I think a lot of that also comes with us having the most diversity.
I would agree. 100%.
A lot of those people might be American, but their parents come from who knows where. That's one of the benefits of us being able to be a country and get all the best people from everywhere else.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the immigrants that have come to the United States is what really makes us great. And the last thing I wanted to mention that I think other countries could learn from the United States is the idea of team spirit. You don't have college and high school spirit and team spirit, I feel like in other countries the same as you do in the United States.
Yeah,
like
definitely not in
spirit.
schools.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not a big school spirit fan, but I agree with you on that one. We definitely are. I mean, it works its way up through like everything. Like there's a lot of nationalism here. There's just a lot of pride here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's school spirit forms, and it's I like it. I'm not a fan of it personally, but I like it in theory.
Right.
And and it's nice to see people get involved in things together.
Right.
And that group mentality of fun. Oh, by the way, the U.S. has between summer. Oh, this is summer games from 1896 to 2016. The United States has 2,520 gold medals. Is it gold medals? Oh, no, total medals, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And Russia has 1,865. Germany has 1,681. And Britain, 847.
So there you go. So did that substantiate my claim?
Your claim has been substantiated.
Yes. All right. Nice. Nice.
This has been promoted from meme news to real news.
That's right. That's right. True progress on the Untranslatable
Granted,
podcast.
real news is also me just reading the little blurb at the top of Google. So
right.
Let's take that with a grain of salt. So.
Right. Let's hope Google's not giving us fake news.
I don't know if they have the ability to pull news from memes.
Right.
Speaking of the music, though. I think this is a great example of America's involvement in the music culture because this is a hip hop song from Italy. This song couldn't exist if it wasn't for American hip hop because it is Italian hip hop, which by the very name of it has to come after American hip hop.
Right.
And this guy is apparently an OG in the Italian hip hop game. I think he's been doing it since like the early 90s. His name is Frankie High NRG. So Frankie High Energy, but it's HI-NRG and MC. And the name of the song is, how do you say that? Kellyche Ben Pisano?
Ben Pisano, I would guess.
Is it Kelly?
Kellyche, probably.
Okay. And apparently that means, do you know what that means?
No, I don't. I was really happy you were going to say what it meant.
It means those who right think. I'm not sure what right think means, but I'll read a little bit of the lyrics and maybe we can figure it out. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, I chose him because one, I like the song. He's got a nice little flow. He's Italian. I heard of him because I was looking at I was listening to music on our Untranslatable Song of the Pod playlist. And I got to the Caparezza song, and this song was recommended, which makes sense. Caparezza,
right.
Goodbye Melancholia was an Italian hip-hop song.
Right.
And this song, I liked it, and so I decided to do it. And so anyway, those who right think, and Ben Pisano might be a person, might be a slang word of some sort, but it is not just a straight-up word. It's not. Okay. It doesn't have a direct translation, is what I mean.
Nice, okay.
So I'll start at the beginning, because I haven't really read these yet. They are around us, among us. In many cases, it's us who makes promises, without ever keeping them without ever keeping them other than out of self-interest. The end is just profit. The means is any one at hand. The stakes are at their highest. The imperative is to win and not let anyone else participate. In the rationale of the game, the only rule is to be sly. No scruples, nor respect towards our fellow human beings. Because the last will be last, the first are out of reach. They are many, arrogant towards the weaker ones, and bootlickers towards the powerful ones. They are replicants. They all look the same. Look at them. They are behind masks, and you can't tell them apart. Like lizards, they climb, and if then they lose their tail, they buy it new. They do what they want. Others do. Oh wait, excuse me. They do what they want to know. Wait, excuse me. They do what they want others to know they do. That's an interesting line. They squander their money, and they are what they have. So that's only one verse, but clearly this guy's got an axe to grind, and he's coming in hot. This was, I mean, even in English without any sort of flow to it, those were straight bars.
Right. Oh, for sure.
So,
and it sounds great in Italian.
Yeah. It's a very chill. Like it's not a like it's just a very even keeled kind of chill rapper, and clearly he seems to be he seems to have a problem with the upper class.
I would agree.
I think it's interesting because not only is this genre an American genre that's been adopted by the world, like Frankie High Energy MC in Italy, but what he's rapping about is also kind of something that you might hear. Like this could be applied to anywhere. And this song, like if you were to say, "Hey, guess where this song is from?" you could name any number of countries, obviously including the United States. And so I do like that sort of universal message that even though some countries tend to do a better job at managing greed and not being as greedy, and Americans get the bad rep for being greedy, there's greed everywhere. And I think that I like that sort of angry message that's universal.
Oh, I would agree for sure.
And so shout out. So that's our song of the pod. I'll tweet it out. Untranslatable1 is our Twitter, and click on that and listen to it. And let us know what you think. Or send us your own songs of the pod if you got them.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Very nice. Well, my check word of our pod today is a word that I learned a while back, and kind of describes America in a lot of ways. And the word is viborni. Any guesses what that might mean, Jared?
Greed, it seems too easy.
It's not greed. No, it's not greed.
Loud?
It's positive. I tend to be a positive guy.
Oh, happy? Friendly?
Excellent. Viborni.
Okay.
Excellent. Parada.
So it's similar to parada. Is it just a different parada?
Yes.
Okay. Viborni.
Exactly. All right, Jared. Right. Well, I have a treat for you today. I have tried to come up with my own original joke.
I love this, by the way, and I want to keep encouraging you because I feel like the more excitement I show, the more willing you are to. I want you to explore your creative side, dig deep.
I appreciate it. I'm definitely no stand-up comedian nor a joke writer.
Not yet.
But I give it my best. So here we go. How can you tell when there's an American tourist in a restaurant?
How can you tell? Give it to me.
When they sit for 5 minutes and aren't waited on, and when they chug their drink and wait for their free refill.
Yeah. I think even more than that is it's not even. I think also the part of the problem is if you ask for another one, the waiter is not thinking free like that's not even something that crosses their mind. So they'll bring you another one, and it's when you get the bill. And you have, 6 Fantas on there.
Right. Exactly. You got 6 Fanta bottles at your table.
All right, do you have another one?
Nope. That was it.
Okay.
I only had one for you today.
That's okay. I think I'm happy with one, especially if they're chat originals.
That's right. And all the other American jokes I found online were just super negative. And it was all the same stuff. It was all Americans are stupid, Americans are fat.
I mean, the funniest jokes are negative, though.
That's also true. That's also true.
Most most good comedians don't pull from happy, friendly places.
Right. Obviously not, for good reason.
I love my family. They're the nicest people. We went to get ice cream the other day, and she ordered sprinkles, but she actually got chocolate sprinkles, and she was angry.
I hope
That's family-friendly comedy right there.
I hope neither of us quit our day jobs to try to write family-friendly comedy, because we won't get too far. But I'm still going to keep sending out my positivity into the universe and see what happens.
All right.
But anyways, I would like to end our episode with a quote. And although we don't have any official monarchs or queens, people do refer to this person as Queen Bey.
Do. Oh. I didn't even know that was going to be the quote.
No, the quote is...
And I was about to say, yeah, we do. Her name's Beyonce.
Yep, yeah, and that is our queen, Queen Bey, Beyonce Knowles.
I did not know that she was about to be the quote.
Yes, and the quote is, if everything was perfect, you would never learn and you would never grow. And I think one of the great things about America is it continues to grow, and hopefully we also continue to learn.
Yeah. One can only hope.
That's for sure. Without a doubt.
That's just nothing. Let that sink in, everyone. Really think about that.
Exactly. And I figured, a quote
Meditate
from Beyonce would be a fitting quote, because I think she means
She's
a lot
an American
to a lot of
icon at
Americans.
this point.
Absolutely. She's a legend. She's the queen.
Yeah. She's she's definitely a living legend at this point.
Oh, without a doubt.
She's only 35 or something, if that.
Right. Just old enough to run for presidency.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't making $22 million when she was 8, but, okay.
She's been doing all right, for sure. Most definitely. Well, I hope all of our listeners out there have enjoyed this episode about what other countries can learn from the United States. The United States is far from perfect, but I think there are a lot of great and amazing things in the United States, and we really appreciate you for all of your support. We would love to hear from you. If you have any messages you'd like to send us, please send them to us at untranslatable.podcast@gmail.com. Slide into our DMs at untranslatable1 on Twitter. And check out some of our awesome clips and pictures on Instagram at Untranslatable Podcast. We really appreciate all of your support and look forward to hearing from you. And for us at the Untranslatable Podcast, we said thank you. Until next time, and dziękujemy.